Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Tonight, we're talking Inter Miami, and we got my good friend Daniel from the Battered Herons. Obviously, Inter Miami had a very underwhelming playoff appearance. Messi's first playoff appearance in Major League Soccer. Besides their exit, Daniel, how are things going over at the Battered Herons?
Besides the exit, well, things are definitely picking up steam as far as the torches are out. Everybody wants Tata's head. Everybody's questioning Messi's level of play now that he apparently failed in the playoffs, which is a large part of the conversation into Miami circles. It's just a lot of negativity right now after having the greatest regular season in history. There's a lot of negativity going around just a couple weeks after. So it's a weird place to be in right now.
So what exactly, like, what the hell went wrong, man? I mean, this is, like you said, a team that just broke the MLS record for most points. You got Messi, you've got the Barca boys, you've got Tata Martino, who has won a championship in Major League Soccer. Obviously this team invests a lot of money in U22s, and this was supposed to be the team that, if they didn't win the MLS Cup, would be a disappointment, but they didn't even make it out of the first round. I mean, what the hell went wrong, man?
I don't want to oversimplify it, but honestly, I really do believe, and I know people have been giving me crap because I'm oversimplifying it. If Brad Guzan doesn't play out of his mind, Inter Miami wins. Inter Miami dominated games 1 and 3. They had 3 times the shots that they did, 3 times the shots on goal that they did, but Brad Guzan played out of his mind. And you have to give them credit because they scored. They played the counter. They played it well. Inter Miami doesn't defend the counter well. They don't defend well in transition. And they had that lapse on that third goal where Toto Aviles, for some reason, throws himself on the ground. And instead of marking a man, they threw up their arms and start trying to get the ref's attention instead. They get scored on. They deserve to get scored on. But with all that said, I thought that they played a better game. Games 1 and 3 were almost identical, in my opinion. They outperformed them. They created more opportunities, but Brad Guzan kept them out of the back of the net, which was the difference.
Yeah, it's funny because I mentioned this during like the live stream. We did a couple live streams. Actually, we did live stream every one of those games. Watch along. Brad Guzan had some messy PTSD from Copa America in 2016, and he was on the revenge tour to make sure he didn't get his way. And he didn't score until the third game, which was a header, not the traditional Messi
Right.
scoring method. But even so, like you said, you don't want to simplify it. I agree. Brad Guzan, MVP of the series, best player on the pitch, in my opinion. Without him, totally different series. But even so, this Atlanta United team was a team that barely made the playoffs, sold all their best players this summer, had an interim manager because they fired Gonzalo Pineda in the middle of the summer. I still, even with Miami playing poorly or not playing as well, like, I know you said they played well in total, but they didn't play as well as we've seen them play in other parts of the season. Like that Revs game where they were down 2-0 and then scored 6 unanswered goals. That's the team that really needed to show up. Maybe not score 6 goals, but just have that attacking, ability. I just don't understand how they lose to a team like this. This is a team that totally had given up their, at summer point in the season.
We had difficulty with teams that would bunker down, park the bus, as they say, and just play the counter. That's where our difficulty was. Game 3, we came out very aggressive. We went from a 5-man backline to a 4-man backline. We pressed high, and we get beat on the counter consistently because we don't have players in the midfield without Busquets there. Because missing Busquets, absolutely terrible, because he's the one that mans the midfield for us. Even when he plays as that sweeper, that third center back, he pushes up and he helps in the attack. But he wasn't there. We didn't have anybody to build up in the midfield. And once our midfield was gone, we had a hard time building up, and we were susceptible to turnovers and transitions, and we just can't defend the transition. What it used to be because we had no pace, and now it's just we play too high, and then we don't have, I guess you could say, the pace to defend. Noah Allen, I thought, was somebody that was really coming on for us and helping us on that transition side. Him and Yannick Bright. Yannick Bright went down with the injury the second game, which was nobody's talking about, but that was a huge blow because he changed our defense. Once he started playing in the summertime, our defense completely changed. And then Noah Allen, his pace really helped us out a lot of times in transition. And the fact I'm a Tata defender to an extent. One thing that I do not understand is why he went from the 5-man back line to a 4-man back line in that third game. Apparently, he said it because he wanted to be more aggressive in the attack. He kind of wanted to put away the game early, but it didn't happen. And when that didn't happen, Atlanta started finding the back of the net, and we had nobody to stop that. So there's just so many things to point at.
No, I agree. And let me ask you this. So obviously you think me and you are both in agreement. Guzan was the saving grace for Atlanta United in this playoff journey, right? MVP.
100%.
Who would you say was the most disappointing Miami player in the series that was, I mean, you could choose a lot, but who do you think was single-handedly the most? You said people were going after Messi and, some people want Suarez to score more. Who do you think is most to blame on the Miami side?
I definitely don't put it on Messi because I thought Messi played well. I know that people don't say he played well enough because he didn't get to score enough, but I think he played well. I would have to say Toto Aviles. I think he cost him the 2 goals, but you don't expect a lot from him because he is susceptible to those boneheaded moves. I guess if I had to put my finger on somebody that I'd expect more out of, I'd say Drake Callender, getting beat near post consistently. And I love Drake Callender, but I think the way he kept getting beat near post, I thought he had a very bad series, and he hasn't had a very good year. Coming off of a great year last year, this year he really took a dip in his performance, and that's why a lot of people are asking for a keeper change for next season.
Yeah, I think that Callender he's been terrible in my opinion since Leagues Cup. Leagues Cup was very good, kind of got him on the map, right? A lot of people outside of Miami didn't know who he was last year until he had that great performance. And we talk about our mutual friend Danny Solana talk about how they should have sold him when they got that $5 to $7 million offer last summer, moved off and cashed out early. They thought that was kind of like the floor, that he could even be sold for more because the Messi effect, right? That wasn't the case. His stock is as low as it's been, and I don't want to I've kind of reflected on this a little bit. I don't want to completely throw him under the bus. He has been bad, but when you have a shaky back line too, it can leave you in spots where you're, vulnerable. But I do think that he doesn't play with any confidence. He has no confidence right now. He's never been the best with the ball at his feet, but when he's in those positions with the ball, he seems nervous. Like he's very he's kind of like spazzing out or kind of like paranoid. So I agree with you, and it kind of makes me wonder if they had. I always pronounce his name wrong, but Ustari, right? The backup, the Argentine backup.
Ustari. Yeah.
If someone like him, a seasoned veteran, was playing, could things have been different?
The thing is, we only got to see him one game. I forgot who it was that we were playing against, but he got a clean sheet. But the opponent was, I think it might have been Toronto. So you don't expect much from Toronto. I know a lot of people got excited when he got that clean sheet, but look, it's a big game, and I understand that he's had a down year, but usually in the big moments, Drake comes up big. Look at the Columbus game where we won the Supporter Shield. He's the one that got that PK block. He had a few saves that saved us. The first time we beat Columbus without Messi and Suarez back in June, there was a one-on-one opportunity for Cucho, literally one-on-one, and Drake stopped Cucho. Drake comes up big in big moments. Unfortunately, it didn't come out that way in this playoff series, but I'm accustomed to him coming up big in these big moments, and I was willing – obviously, I don't have the decision, but I was okay with giving him the go this series because he's proven to come up big in these moments. Now, obviously, it didn't happen that way this time, but I was okay with that. I wouldn't have wanted to see Ustari or CJ Dos Santos behind the sticks or between the sticks.
Yeah, well, the craziest part about this is obviously we know that. Now, I'm not saying that the league is doing anything for the team, even though some people would like to suggest that they're giving them, special benefits or whatever it may be.
Do you think they're getting special benefits throughout the game, like in the games? Because I know people say like financially and all that other stuff, but like, do you think that the refs are playing towards them? Because I don't, and I can see why people would assume that, but people that don't watch the games, I don't think realize we really haven't. This team scored the second most goals in MLS history, 79, I believe it was. Only one of those was a penalty kick, and it was drawn by Leo Alfonso. For a team that's this aggressive in the attack, it's constantly inside the box, to draw one PK the entire season, there were plenty of opportunities to make those calls. Only one all season long.
No, I don't think so. I think they're being fair.
And in that past game, there was a handball.
Handball, yeah, exactly. That was clear handball they didn't call. Yeah.
And if they wanted to really like, oh, we got to find a way for Miami to win, they would have any chance that they get, they would have taken it. They didn't take that. And Miami fans aren't complaining about that call. But I'm saying if they were really trying to help us, that was the perfect opportunity to help us.
No, exactly. And look, I don't think you and I would pretend that the league wouldn't have liked to see Miami advance.
Yeah, of course.
No,
yeah.
They're not actively trying to help them either, I don't think, especially with the referees. I think that's clear. I mean, they wouldn't have allowed them to lose in a 3-game series to Atlanta United if that was the case. But like you said, that handball, man, was crazy. I thought they were going to call that. I thought the reffing was – I mean, it's about what it normally is in MLS. There was nothing crazy I thought that happened.
I thought it was fine.
But it is detrimental to the league because not having Messi, who is the poster child for the league, they're trying to always, put all their eggs in that basket. Having him eliminated in the first round just absolutely kills momentum. Now, I know that you obviously have battered MLS. You're doing more coverage for the league. You're going to tune in and watch the rest of the playoffs. But a lot of those people are, I bet a lot of Miami fans are out. They're not going to tune in again until February because of this.
We got a lot of consistent, even my brother, honestly, he's like, I'll see you guys in February. Like, they're like, yeah, we're not going to watch any more shows until February. Come back around. And I get it because it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that. And what's going to frustrate us even more is if Orlando puts 5 on Brad Guzan's head. That'll probably be even more frustrating. But it's frustrating with the expectations that we had coming into this season for us to bow out. And I on our show, I constantly said, if we don't win the MLS Cup, it's hard to call it a failure because when it's win or go home, one game, any given Sunday, as we say here in the States, anything can happen, a penalty, a red card, something. But when you lose a 2 out of 3 game series to the 9th seed, it is an epic failure. It's a disaster. It's a disgrace.
Well, that's a perfect transition because let's talk about your boy Tata, right? We'll talk about the players in the show, but I want to talk about the coach. Now, I have been a Tata defender. I thought he was the perfect hire on paper for this team. You have a guy who is coaching the league, has won a championship in the league, had the rare chance to coach Messi at the club level, at the national team level, coach some of these Barca players as well, like Busquets and Alba. He didn't coach Suarez, but I'm sure Suarez would respect him. Like he essentially was the manager of egos, right? Someone that these players would respect. And I thought he had a great first full season, broke the record, couldn't ask for more, right? But the issue is, Daniel, and I can't remember what side you're on, but I think you're on the side of probably the championship. Maybe you're on the side of Supporters Shield as the true champion of the league.
No, I'm not a fan of the Supporters Shield.
Okay, so MLS Cup all the way, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the regular season was nice, but what they really wanted to win, they came up as short as you possibly could. So at a certain point, you have to give that. You have to, like you said, Tata played 5 out of the back the first couple games, and then the third game he switches back to a back 4. I mean, I think that one game he can get a pass, bad game, bad players, whatever. But a 3-game series, best of 2, Tata has to get a lot of blame for the shortcomings of this team.
I agree to an extent. I used to get really annoyed on our show when people would ask for Tata's head. The constant hashtag in the chat, Tata out, Tata out. Even after wins, it would annoy me because he lost 4 games all year in the regular season. I just didn't understand it. But I think when you lose this type of series, I think you have to have this conversation. Like heads have to roll, no matter who you are. This now your job comes into question. With that being said, although I questioned why he went from a 5-man back line to a 4-man back line, the opportunities were there. Brad Guzan stopped them opportunities, but I felt like the opportunities were there. He came out in post game and he said, when I went to a 4-man back line, I knew that I was going to open up space for them to run behind us. And I was okay with that because I figured that our attack would supersede what the opportunities they were going to get. Obviously, Brad Guzan had other plans. But when you look at statistically, I mean, technically what he wanted to happen almost happened. It's just that you didn't score. And because of that, then you get some of the blame. Now, a lot of people like to say, Tata needs to go. That's great. And I'm okay having that conversation now because you lost this way. But let's have this conversation if you give me a name that makes sense. When Phil Neville was only given a 1-year contract back when he made the playoffs in 2022, and they gave him a 1-year contract, I came on the show, and I love that we have archives. You can go back and check. It was like December of 2022, and I said, Tata Martino is going to be the next coach, guaranteed, because that means Messi's coming and Tata's going to be the coach, because Phil Neville's not going to coach Messi. Tata is that guy. Like you said, he has the experience with Messi and Barca. He's taken Paraguay to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, which Paraguay is the best they've ever done. Like, he has had a lot of success with what he's had outside of Mexico. Who are you going to bring to replace him? Everybody's saying what? I was on our show. We had somebody that said, I would have loved Pochettino. Okay, that's cute, but I don't see how Pochettino would have worked, because Pochettino is high press, high intensity press. You expect Messi and Suarez to press? That's not happening. That wouldn't have worked. And then everybody's saying Xavi, or their boy Xavi that they played with, Xavi Hernandez. I don't see him coming to the MLS. Like, if you tell me that he's gonna come, then maybe. But he was there for 2 years in Barca. I mean, I think he had some success. I think he did better than what people expected. But you don't know if he's gonna be successful. I want there to be an idea of who's going to come replace him, rather than just say he has to go, because it's easy to say he has to go, but given our circumstance and our roster, it isn't like you can just put Jim Curtin in here. Jim Curtin's not going to come coach the team.
Hey, listen, I agree with you completely. I don't think you should just fire him to fire him without having a plan, but we know Jorge Mas and David Beckham are very detail oriented. They're thinking a few steps ahead. I don't think they would ever fire Tata without having the replacement already lined up. They would never do that. That would be a bad decision for the club. Now, Xavi Hernandez, I think, would come here because he has a lot of respect for Messi, Busquets. He has a lot of respect for Beckham and Alba. Like, he's got connections here. And as far as what he did at Barcelona, the reason why I really like this, I was talking to a friend about this the other day, is when he was coaching Barcelona, they had no money. So all the players they had were either academy players or players they got on free transfers. They couldn't go drop money like Madrid or Man City and just buy whatever they needed. They had to be budget friendly, and they had to work with what they had. That's exactly how MLS is. You can't just go buy whoever you have. He was able to work around the roster, and he won the Liga. They hadn't won it in a couple of years. He won it his first year, and then he obviously finished his second year, and they let him go. But I think he would coach Miami. If they made the call, I think he would do it. And Tata Martino is the highest paid coach in Major League Soccer. He's making like $5 million a year. So that's really good for a Major League Soccer coach. And I think that they could be very competitive on the coaching market because of that. I don't remember what Xavi was making when he was at Barcelona. Probably way more than that. But I think that the offer would entice him. And I think a lot of fans, I think Solana, I don't think he would. I can't remember if he likes that hire or not. I think he doesn't like that hire, but maybe he does. I know he's Tata out now. But he's hit or miss with Tata. He has a love-hate relationship with Tata.
Right now he's defending him. Is he? Yeah, we were on the show together on Monday. He said that he's defending him.
Yeah.
Like I said, but who are you going to bring in to replace him? Now, the Xavi thing, I love that you said that, because I agree. He did bring some of the young guys, but the young guys have become like players. Like, it's not like, and no shade to David Ruiz and Kremaki, but you got Gavi, you got Pedri, you got at the point he had Dembele up the flanks. Like, he had players, and he had Busquets and Jordi Alba that first season he was there also, I believe. So he had players. I just don't know if he has, because I feel like Xavi's game is you have to control the midfield, and I don't know if we have the players to control the midfield. Now, maybe the MLS competition is a little lower, so maybe you don't need, the high quality that he had in Barca. But another thing that I worry about is the players that we have. They have to fit whatever system the new coach is going to bring in. Like that Pochettino example, Drake couldn't play in that because he likes to build up the back, but like to the point where he has a center back on each side of the goalkeeper and you're building up the back. You can't count on Drake for something like that. Drake is horrible with his feet. So it also depends on who you're going to bring. Do we have the players to fit the system? There's so many things that go into it. I don't know. I'm okay with Tata staying, is what I'm saying. But if you could find somebody that you think is better, go for it.
Well, I like I said, I want to get into the players because I think that's very important too. But just to hit one more point on Tata, right? Me and you both agree that they brought Messi in here not just to be for show, not just to get viewership. They want to win. They want to build a super club. They want Miami to be in the same conversation as LAFC, the Galaxy. 100%. That's what they want. They want to be a premier club of MLS. If Messi his time in Major League Soccer ends without a championship, then you could say that it was a failure as far as like the trophies. They expect them to win. Honestly, they expect them to win multiple trophies, not just one and done. So this is my final point or counterpoint to Tata, right? Tata had a full season. Nobody should judge him for the first year because he did win Leagues Cup, and then it was hard for him to really do anything without a full season with his team and all his players. He gets a full season with his players. He breaks the MLS record for points. He gets in the playoffs and immediately fails. Immediately. Are you as a fan, because I'm unbiased, I'm just covering it and trying to call it like I see it.
Right.
Are you willing to take another risk of going with Tata where he looks good in the regular season, get to the playoffs next year, and he fails again? I feel like we already know how he's going to be. We know he failed the most miserable way you can. I feel like now, look, I agree. You got to get a good coach. But Miami is an attractive offer. It's a sexy offer. You got Messi, the Barca boys, Miami, good pay. I mean, they're going to have all the resources at their disposal. I think it's going to be a very, very attractive job for a lot of managers. Like, wouldn't you rather take a chance on someone else after Tata has failed?
This is the only time I would agree with your argument about the change of the calendar, because this is when you want to get a coach to start the new season, but the other leagues are in the middle of their season, and the chances of you getting one of those coaches mid-season are low. So who's really available? Xavi, and not many other options. So that's where the issue is now. Unless Tata misses or loses his job halfway through the next season, I think that's another difficulty. Like, I understand what you're saying, but at the moment to start the next season, there's not many coaches that are available, at least not to my knowledge. Xavi Hernandez is the only option.
It's a good option, though. That's a really good option, and I think it would. So if he told David Beckham, like, they had a conversation, he said, "Hey, I'd be willing to take this job," would you fire Tata?
I wouldn't, but I'm okay if they do. If they give me the choice for some reason, I'll stick with Tata. He showed me he could win all summer without Messi and without Suarez. He went ahead and he took Noah Allen, a left back that was barely getting any playing time, and he made him a center back, which everybody questioned. Everybody was like, "What are you doing?" He ended up being a good center back. He gave Yannick Bright that opportunity, and he's shined. He ended up having the most interceptions per 90 minutes in the MLS. Like, he's developed some young guys. He's done a lot with what he's had. I would give him another year. But if they chose, I wouldn't be up in arms, because I understand it's a business, and it's a results-driven business, and you had literally the worst result possible after that great regular season. So I would be okay with it. But if it were up to me, I'd give him another year.
So you're like 51% keep Tata, 49 just enough, and like you're not going to, like you said, not be upset either way.
Right, yeah. No, I'm not upset about it, but I if it were my choice, I'd go. But I guess that's a good way to put it. 51-49. I'm okay. I want him to stay, but if you got a better option, if Xavi comes, all right, fine. We'll deal with it, and hopefully he does better. My only thing is, like, you just never know. How often do coaches get fired? All the time. They never stay at one place forever, because it's just very difficult to always win. But that's the expectation. If you don't win, you got to go.
Well, also, I would say, too, because Miami is trying to be the premier club of Major League Soccer, I think they're going to hold it to that standard. And if any other league had a coach that did something equivalent to this, it's kind of hard because it's a playoff, but it's still a disaster, and they would probably fire the coach in most circumstances.
But the difference is that here we have a league of parity. So I feel like when Man City loses 4 games in a row, like they just did, the eyebrow goes up. Like, oh, should Pep go? I get that a little more, because you're losing against teams that are far superior. Like, your bench is better than most of those starters. So there, I get it. But here in this league, once Yannick Bright and Sergio Busquets went down, the level of the team, I understand we still have Messi and Suarez and stuff, but it significantly went down. So I think that people are quick to pull the trigger because they're so accustomed to the way things work in Europe. But I feel like in a league full of parity, like, how many people are saying that they should get rid of Nancy? Not many.
Nobody. But they did win an MLS Cup, though.
Right. So, I understand that. And I understand that. But I mean, Tata's also had some success. I get that he didn't win the MLS Cup, but that's why I would give him one more season. Now, if he doesn't do it next season, then I get it. But this is literally the best season of all time, regular season wise.
I'll say this to finish that off. I think parity is dying in Major League Soccer, because when's the last time a bad team won an MLS Cup?
Atlanta's going to win it this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't count on that. But good teams are still winning MLS Cups. It's just it is competitive, but good teams win MLS Cups. Bad teams aren't winning. We'll see we'll see what happens. But okay, let's say he stays, or even if he does leave, obviously there's going to be some changes, right? There needs to be some changes to this team. Who? Okay, give me. I made a list the other day. Let me get yours. Who's the top 3 players you want to move off of this offseason for Miami?
Move off of. Oof.
Yes.
Well, no. Okay, I'm gonna be. No, I'm gonna be politically correct because there's one player that I just don't like, but I just don't like him personally. But that has nothing to do with on the pitch, so I'll keep that one off. I would move off of Tata Martinez because we need a left center back. As much as I love Drake, I would be okay upgrading Drake. And Diego Gomez is gone. We need a left wing. Facundo Farias is supposed to fill that option, but I really don't know what he's going to do after he comes back from his ACL injury. So I guess I didn't give you players to move off of because I'd have to really think about it. But as far as positions go, I think we could upgrade a keeper, left center back, and left wing.
Oh, all right. Are you ready for this? This is, man, there's going to have to be some crazy changes because they're not going to be able to keep all these guys. Suarez is out of contract. Alba's out of contract. And they want to bring these guys back. Suarez has said he wants to come back, but he's not going to come back for $1.5 million after he just scored 20 goals. It's just not going to happen. He's going to want a pay raise. So
he can leave. I don't care.
Yeah. You want Suarez to leave? Why would you want Luis Suarez to leave?
He's that guy that I don't like. I can't stand that guy.
Really?
Yeah, I can't stand Luis Suarez.
Interesting. Well, Solana, hopefully you're not listening to this.
No, he does. Solana gives me crap for it all the time. Look, I can't stand the guy's personality, man. Why does he have to be that way? You saw what happened. I thought it was funny when Campana pushed the guy into the net. Why does Suarez have to go in and start doing whatever it is that he's doing afterwards?
Yeah.
Like, he's such a pest. I don't know. Even on my team, I think he's annoying.
As long as he's not biting people, I guess it's fine. But let's just say that they're going to try to keep him, right? They're not going to. I know you don't want to keep him, but they're going to try to keep him, and he's probably.
I don't mind if they keep him, but I think that he will. He does. He's not going to get a DP contract.
I don't know, man. I think he's going to want a pay raise. But here's the thing: there's just too many mouths to feed. All right. Okay. I think Alba deserves a pay raise. I don't know if he'll get one. He deserves one. Suarez definitely deserves one. I think Busquets deserves a pay cut, not because he's bad, but because in Major League Soccer, 3 DPs, $10 million a year. Oh, I think you muted.
My mic went out. He gets paid $8 million.
Yeah. You think it's worth that?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Busquets in this league as spots are just so limited for how much you can get a good player. You can't be paying him $10 million, $8 million a year. He's going to have to take a pay cut. You just can't do that, especially because Suarez is making 20. Suarez and Alba played better this season than Busquets did. They did. They played better, and they got paid 3 times less, 4 times less than what he got paid. And also too, I agree. Center back. I was telling Solana that I think they need to loan out Toto Alvarez. Maybe get him back in Argentina. Maybe that could shake things up and he can get a change of scenery because he's just not been good since he's been here. He's been the same or maybe regressed. He has not been very good, and they need stability back there, regardless of who the goalkeeper is. If it's Jake Callender or someone else, they need 2 new center backs. They're going to get a new right back, I would say. I know Noah Allen played. Did Noah Allen play right back or left back?
Left back.
Left back. Okay. Maybe he could play right back, but I think they probably need to get something a little bit more stable.
I like Cello.
Yeah. Well,
I like Cello.
It depends on what he costs, right? Because he's on loan. It really depends on what what his price tag would be. I think they need 2 center backs. They probably need 3 total. A good backup too. Obviously, Kristoff's probably going to be gone. He's ancient. He's terrible. He's the worst player on the team, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
So they need probably 3 center backs, 2 starters at least, a goalkeeper. Busquets needs to take a pay cut. Like you said, Diego Gomez has got to be replaced. That's going to be a tall task. He was very, very good. Probably the best player that Tata Martino scouted since he's been at Miami. What an absolute gem, man. He was the cheapest of the 3 U22s, and he's been the best by far. That's why he's going to the Premier League this winter. And yeah, they need a winger, like you said. You cannot, like, Facundo Frias might be good, but I don't know. Like you said, injury coming off an ACL tear. I mean, you probably need someone a little bit more, maybe a veteran there that could relieve him if he isn't good.
What do you think about Robert Taylor?
I'm not big on Robert Taylor. I think they need to move off him too. I think they need to move off Robert Taylor. They need to trade Leo Campana because they could probably get something out of him and get some more money to maybe help, maneuver a couple other moves. And maybe, you're big on Yannick Bright. I'm big on him too. I think he's a good player. I feel like he's got to start next season.
He's solidified his starting position for sure.
So how is that going to work out? So there's Redondo, there's him, there's Busquets. That's going to, and obviously Kramaski, he's not going to start if those three are playing. So you might have to move off of him or maybe trade him. But I don't know if they're going to do that. They just have too many mouths to feed.
I think the Barca 4 stay. I do. I think that if Tata's still the coach, I think that he's going to stick with what was working towards the latter part of the year, which was the 5-man backline with Busquets as the main center back, the sweeper center back, because it helped unlock so much when he was helping progress the ball. And also, our biggest weakness was when teams would press us high, we would constantly turn the ball over, and that completely changed when Busquets started playing back there. So I think that that's what they're going to go with. And in the midfield, I could see a Redondo and a Yannick Bright. Messi, Suarez. Yeah, look, everybody's counting on Farias being the guy that replaces Gomez, but he's not the same player Gomez was. Gomez was a box-to-box midfielder that was put up at left wing. And even when he was at left wing, if you look at his heat map, he was box-to-box. Like, he wasn't up on that left side because that was Jordi Alba's spot. So I don't know what we're going to do to replace Diego Gomez, but although you have a point because of the contracts being out and everything, I do understand why there's a lot of money moves to be made. But I think center back is where they're going to focus, possibly goalkeeper. But I think the core of this team stays relatively the same.
I agree with that. I think what they, like you said, Diego Gomez playing out of position. I like him better in the midfield, but they had but they had to put him there because they just had to get the best 11 on the pitch. I understand why he did that, right?
That's literally the only reason it happened. 100%.
Yeah, ideally he'd be playing, like you said, like at that 8 position, but they had to put him at left wing, and he did pretty good, compared to playing out of position. He was pretty good, and like you said, he was making it work, especially with Alba being more of a left wing back than he was
basically.
Yeah. But they have got to do a better job of identifying good center backs. I don't think David Martinez was bad. He wasn't good enough. Freire wasn't bad. He wasn't good enough. Toto Alvarez is just inconsistent. They have to get that solidified and a good goalkeeper, and this team completely changes. Completely.
I think they're going to go the same route that they went Freire and David Martinez. They're going to go look for a young to maybe mid-20s South American who maybe has some injury history that can come on the cheap. And I think that's the route they're going to go, which is the MLS route, right? You don't spend a lot of big money on defenders. And I think they're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep scouting South America and bring center backs from down there. They're not going to be those sexy names that you recognize. It's not going to be an Otamendi. It's not going to be a Sergio Ramos. You're going to get some young guys that you don't know but might play well, and you hope that they pan out. But I don't see any sexy names coming as far as the back line. Unfortunately, I don't think that's in the cards.
Yeah, I would be interested to see if maybe because the attacking talent's so good with Messi and Suarez, if Suarez doesn't take a DP deal and like hold out for more money, I honestly wouldn't be upset with them maybe using their third DP spot, because they will have a third DP spot this offseason. It just depends on how they're going to use it, because you can either have the 3 DPs if you don't know.
Everyone 3 U22s,
or 3 U22s, or 2 DPs and 4 U22s. Well, they have 4 U22s right now. Gomez is leaving. Frias is slipping it. He'll be the third U22 when he's back. So they'll have a DP spot. Campana is not a DP anymore. I honestly wouldn't be opposed to them signing a very, very good center back as that last DP. Maybe going out and trying to buy a decent center back that can stabilize it. I mean, look, I understand it's not a sexy signing, but there's been a lot of cases in MLS history when you solidify that back line, it really can make the difference for your MLS Cup chances.
A lot of people put a lot of stock in the defense, and I understand why. Defense wins championships, right? That's the saying. But Inter Miami, for as much as we give them crap about how bad our defense was, they allowed 49 goals. there were 3 teams that allowed 48. So I put them basically in the same place, 48, 49 goals. Outside of those teams that allowed 48, 49 goals, there were 5 teams in the entire league that allowed less than 48 goals. This league in general just doesn't defend. So I do agree. It would be nice to get better center backs and to have better defense. But in general, that shouldn't be the difference maker because the majority of the league doesn't defend. Like the best defensive teams were Seattle, Houston, Charlotte, Columbus, and I'm forgetting the 5th one. Those are the best defensive teams for the most part. LAFC, the Galaxy, all those teams. Like the defense is subpar to below average. And so your offense should be able to negate that. I think that's why nobody really uses their DPs outside of Zimmerman and Alexander Ring and Austin. I can't think of anybody else that uses a DP on a center back. I don't see that happening. I can see why you say that, but I don't think that's happening. And there's a lot more smoke being raised about the whole Neymar thing, which I don't even know if I want that, but that would be the 3rd DP if he's really considering coming here.
Yeah, well, I'll close out with saying this. From what I've heard, Jorge Mas has been just in Don Garber's ear telling him like, hey, in all these owners meetings, hey, I want to build something. We're going to the Club World Cup. I don't want to be embarrassed. I want to actually try to win it. I want to make not just the league look good, but I want my club to look good. I want people to see Miami play and believe that this is actually one of the best clubs in the world. And I do think, I don't know what it's going to be, Daniel, honestly, because nobody does. I think something is coming change-wise, whether it's extra DPs or if it's more U22s, more whatever it may be. Something's going to change a little bit this winter to make things a little easier on teams, which would help Miami because it's not that they're not willing to spend. It's just they're limited on what they can spend because of the league. So that will be interesting to see regardless of who the next manager is, this team is going to start focusing on the Club World Cup this summer because they want to really turn some heads there. It's going to be an exciting offseason. I can't wait to see what happens. Now, the Neymar thing doesn't make this team – it's fun and exciting, right, to see the best front 3 of all time. But
the defense will be the same or worse. It'll be worse. The defense will be worse.
It will because you just got another guy on the field that's not going to be running. It's going to, it's just going to be bad, honestly.
And think about who he's replacing because the person that was playing left wing before him was Diego Gomez, who would literally all that running and all the defending. So it would be remarkably worse. But entertaining.
Yeah, it will be. And so we'll have to see how that, transpires and what happens with that. But listen, I appreciate you coming on here. We will see. It's the beginning of a fun off season. There's going to be regardless if they make a coaching change or not, there's going to be moves and it's going to be fun to see what happens. Before I let you go, tell the people where they can find you at.
Well, Battered Herons for Inter Miami, whether it be Twitter or on YouTube, Battered Herons. We do a show 3 to 4 times a week. We do once in Spanish, Monday nights at 10 o'clock, sometimes twice during the season. Right now, probably just once a week. And we do Battered MLS Fans. We usually go on once a week during the playoffs. We've been going on twice a week, Eastern Conference, then Western Conference episodes. So check out Battered MLS Fans also. I feel like as an Inter Miami podcast, we got a lot of more eyes. It's almost like, how marijuana is the gateway drug. Like our podcast tends to be like a gateway because all the Messi fans are like, oh, what's this about? And I feel like that's why we bring so many guests on. We started the MLS show. Like, hey, there's other podcasters, content creators, other teams, and we really want to try to get those people. And we built a really good relationship with Scars and Spikes, the Atlanta guys, and now people from other countries are going ahead and tuning into their shows. So I really hope that people keep giving this league an opportunity because it's a great league, and people are intrigued with the whole parity thing because they're not accustomed to that. And the playoffs, like a lot of pushback from that, but I do think that if people give it an opportunity, they'll like it, and it's going to continue to grow. So we're doing everything possible to go ahead and keep growing this league as far as content creation wise.
It's not perfect, but it's ours, right?
100%.
And so we just got to keep pushing. If you're not happy with something, just that's what I do. I'm called a hater, I'm called a shill, whatever it may be, but I'm just being honest, man. And hopefully even if it helps 1%, I'm doing something on my part to make the league better.
Same here, man. I know we don't have much pull in anything, but I know that we get a lot of foreign listeners and viewers on our show. So I'm like, hey, man, MLS moves. Check this guy out. And then the Battered MLS Fans, they constantly get introduced to other podcasters from across the country. So we're trying, man. I want to grow this league as much as possible.
100%. Well, Daniel, I appreciate you coming on, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this. We've been talking about doing a show together for a while now. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you coming on, and hope everybody that's listening follows you at Battered Herons and at Battered MLS. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.